Of December 17th. You have before you an agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on to public comment.
Merry Christmas, everyone. 'Tis the season to be jolly, so let me spread a lot of good cheer. Tonight, I'm going to focus on Nantucket High School results and trends in college-level advanced placement science courses by comparing the results in 2011 and 2012 with the results in 2024. Please pay close attention because the numbers are going to be flying fast and furious, and there will be a test at the end. I took a peek at Nantucket AP Science statistics for the first time in December 2012, 2 months after I arrived on island full-time. And by the way, I'm David Dixon. As many of you know, AP test scores range from 1 to 5. You can receive a 1 if you hand in a blank answer sheet with your name on it. Scores of 3, 4, and 5 are considered solid scores for which many universities give college credit and or the opportunity to jump into a subject's second semester. In some AP subjects, such as biology and chemistry, a high-performing AP students can begin freshman year in college by taking the subject's second year of study. Let's look at Nantucket. In a word, Nantucket High School AP results were appalling for biology in 2011 and 2012 and chemistry in 2012. Biology was the only AP science course offered in 2011. Among the 19 students enrolled, 17 scored a 1 on the AP exam, 1 student scored a 2, and a third student earned a 3. In other words, only 1 of 19 AP biology students qualified for college credit on the AP exam. In 2012, 11 Nantucket students took AP biology, and every one scored a 1 on the exam. 2 of the 12 students taking AP chemistry in 2012 achieved a 3, while each of the remaining 10 students scored a 1. When I revealed these results at a 2013 middle school principal's coffee attended by more than a dozen mothers, there were collective audible gasps following each year's summary. Let's fast forward to 2024. Last year, 23 Nantucket students took AP biology. 11 took AP chemistry, 1 took AP environmental science, and 14 took AP physics 1. Here are the results. In biology last year, 20 of the 23 students achieved a 3 or higher on their AP exams, including 11 who scored a 4 and 3 who scored a 5. Whereas in 2011 and 2012, 28 of the 30 AP biology students received a 1 on their AP exams, not one of the 23 AP biology students received a 1 in 2024. In AP chemistry last year...
Dave, you got 3 minutes.
Okay,
And I've given you 4 so far.
Oh,
Wrap it up, okay?
all right. I was just getting to the good stuff.
Wrap it up.
All right. In AP chemistry last year, 10 of the 11 students scored a 3 or higher on their AP tests, including 4 students who achieved a very impressive score of 4. No student received a 1 last year. Thus, and this is the end, whereas 10 of 12 AP chemistry students in 2012 received a 1 on their AP tests, 10 of 11 AP chemistry students in 2024 earned solid scores of 3 and 4. And last sentence, so congratulations to all the students, teachers, and administrators who have worked so hard to achieve so much in AP Science at NHS. Thank you for your time, and again, Merry Christmas.
Okay. Superintendent's update.
Okay, good evening, everyone. It's nice to be back to you all. So I have a little transportation update. There are some good things, and then I have to be a Grinch. So I'm very happy to share that the Cape Cod Collaborative has chosen Morgan Gray, one of our current bus drivers, to act as the Nantucket Public Schools transportation facilitator. Morgan will continue to drive her bus route, but she has added responsibilities around scheduling athletic trips and field trips, providing in-service training to other drivers, and meeting with me on a fairly regular basis. Although we are really happy to have Morgan in this position, we still currently continue to struggle greatly with the growing number of students who need transportation to and from school and not enough seats on the bus. So several weeks ago, we added a late bus for all students in grades 6 through 12 for the airport route. We had an early bus. We continue to have an early bus for those students as the number of students who reside at the Richmond development on Old South Road continues to grow. This is certainly, with the late bus or in the early bus, it's freed up space in the earlier route so that new MPS students needing transportation can be included, particularly those at grades K to 5. The late bus picks up students at CPS and NHS at approximately 3:15. This is really not ideal for students, staff, or families. Both the early bus and the late bus cause issues around sleep disruption for students who have to get up very early. We're talking before 6:30 in the morning to be able to, even earlier, to be able to be out at the bus stop at 6:30. And the late bus also creates its own problems with having students arrive home late. They may have different responsibilities once they get home. So we're in this predicament. This is not ideal. There are students, staff, and families that are affected, and we only have 4 bus drivers on the island. We have sent out, I know the message has gone out through the press, and we have received lots of people saying that they were interested in helping. It does take a long time, and training has to occur off island. We do not have training facilities here on the island. So I thank everyone for their offers to be involved. But until we can hire another bus driver, we really will have to continue with our late bus service. Since finding and retaining bus drivers is going to be an ongoing issue on this island for us in future years, I really feel that it's time for us to revisit a staggered schedule starting next year, 25-26. We will need to hold an open forum in the new year to begin preliminary discussions with the community, with our teachers union, and others who are involved to investigate this possible change. And I'm happy to entertain any questions, but certainly we will set a date in the early winter when we get back. So if there's anything before I go on.
Questions?
Yes. At a previous meeting, you discussed the idea of talking to the local bus company to see if there was any possibility that they might be able to have a driver that might be able to fulfill some of this. Is that still being investigated?
Yes, I have I sent an email just recently to Gary Roberts. We haven't had a chance to connect through numerous reasons, but the issue becomes that that NRTA will serve the purpose of moving students back and forth on the students and parents' decision. It won't be a school. We can't hire NRTA to do our full transportation. It will be that students will not have the opportunity to take the bus, so they can, if they wish to take a NERDA bus, they could. But other than that, that's pretty much what we can do with NERDA this time. So, okay. A couple of additional updates. As you've all heard, based on the ballot results that ruled that MCAS would no longer be used as a competency determination, I wanted to give you an update. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has released a frequently asked questions document related to this ballot result, and have kind of gone through some pretty specific questions that have come up. While there is no effect on current students in the class of 2025 who have earned proficient or exemplary ratings on MCAS either through their regular 10th grade test or a retest, those that have not earned proficient scores will have to earn a competency determination by demonstrating, quote, mastery of a common core of skills, competency, and knowledge by satisfactorily completing coursework that has been certified by the student's district as showing mastery of the skills, competencies, and knowledge contained in the state academic standards and curriculum frameworks in the areas measured by the MCAS high school test described in Section 1 administered in 2023. So right now that's very confusing to superintendents across the state. The Cape and Islands superintendents will be meeting next week to review the frequently asked questions document, as well as a legal letter that came from the Massachusetts Association of School Committees Attorneys, and to determine what the best course of action is. It sounds like the state is requesting districts to determine their own competencies, and this is a little challenging. So we do hope to gain a lot more information. There's a webinar that will be happening this Wednesday with the commissioner, so we hope that there'll be some guidance. But this is definitely something that has to become a priority since this new law may affect several of our graduating seniors. We want to make sure that in the coming weeks we are learning as much as possible so we know how to provide them with those opportunities and give them the opportunity to show competency so that they are ready for graduation. And just one clarifying piece of information, I think there's been a lot of misinformation that's been flying around about MCAS. The November ballot question did not do away with MCAS altogether. We will still be testing regularly scheduled MCAS in February, March, May, and June, and the district accountability ratings are still tied to our MCAS scores. It's just that the competency determination for high school graduating seniors will be determined in a different way, not the MCAS scores. So I can answer as many questions as you can give me, but I don't have a lot of information, so.
I'll lead off. Students who did not graduate because they did poorly in MCAS in past years, will they be then eligible to get a graduation?
They will have the opportunity to show again the graduate, as long as they can meet these competency determination standards that we will be in some case certifying. So
But
yes.
now if we say students from 5 years ago
Right.
or 10 years ago,
I'm not sure yet how far that's going back, how far that will be an opportunity for them. But that's a good question that I can certainly ask, or learn more in the documentation. So I'm happy to report. I will definitely be reporting on this more in the coming weeks. It's just still pretty new in the guidance that's been provided by the Department of Ed. And like I said, the superintendents are pretty confused, so we need to have a lot more information before we start
Laura?
moving forward. But it's a necessity because our students have the rest of the school year to figure it out. So
I just echo your question about how far back that goes. I'm also curious how many. I mean, I know this is just a guess, I suppose, of how many students it affected. Let's say just in the past 5 years that did not graduate. Just
I don't know exactly, Mandy. I don't know if do you have that enough?
I don't have an
Number.
exact number, but I can tell you since I've been here, it's not a huge number, because when we have students who have not passed the test, we put a lot of interventions in place to help them to be able to reach that competency. We have had some, but we have also had them come in the fall and do retesting, and we've also offered tutoring to help them be prepared for it.
thank you.
but a high school diploma is sort of the least bit of documentation that you really need. And I think we should look back to when it became a graduation requirement and see if we can ferret out the kids that didn't make it, because I think under this change, we should be able to make up.
I will learn more about that to see if there's going to be a limit or how many years back or what the expectations are. Things have changed over time with regard to competency standards. So we brought in the Common Core, or in our case, the new curriculum framework. So it may be that will have whatever. I'm not sure where they're drawing the line, but we'll find out and I'll report on it.
Vince?
The legal letter from the School Committee Association, is that something that can be shared or not?
Oh, absolutely. I can share that with you. Yes, yes, happy to do that.
Question?
No, thank you.
Okay. One more thing, and it's very simply, as we roll into a rare 2-week break for students and staff and admin, there are a lot of festivities going on around the district, but I want to make sure that I don't steal Cecilia's thunder.
Thank you.
She has a very long list of great things to report. So I will end here and just wish you all a very happy holiday season and see you in the new year.
Thank you. Moving on to presentations and discussions of issues of interest to the committee. I am going to move the order of things. I'm going to ask Soren to come up and do a presentation on this NHS Student Culinary Arts.
Through the chair, if I may, I'd like to introduce Soren. And thank you very much for allowing him to be part of the vocational presentation tonight. I ask that that happen because Soren has a desire to have a future in culinary. And so it matched right up with what we were doing with our vocational. My understanding, Soren did take Culinary 1, and I think Chef Proch is hoping that he will be part of Culinary 2. The main reason why he is here is early in the school year, Soren and his mom reached out to me and asked about him making a trip to Nicaragua. And we talked about it, and he explained what it was, which I'm not going to take his story. I'm going to let him do that. I looked at this as the same as any college visit that we allow our students to do. So I think that the opportunity that he had is rare, and I think it's great that our students have that opportunity. The only thing that I ask of him is that he would come and present so that you would know, some of the opportunities that our students are following up on. So, Soren Edwards.
Hi, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Soren Edwards. I'm a junior here at Nantucket High School. The first thing I think you should know about me is that I'm not planning on going to college. I've grown up enjoying being in kitchens as young as I can remember. I'm going to pursue my passion for cooking, and I'm looking forward to owning my own business here on Nantucket. I've worked in kitchens for almost 4 years now, proprietors and the Great Harbor Yacht Club, where I have furthered my experience and honed skills and have learned to cook in ways that are very unique. I had the incredible opportunity to attend a 2-week immersion cooking course in Nicaragua, where I learned a variety of traditional culinary techniques and flavors unique to the region. The experience was hands-on, allowing me to explore local ingredients, master the art of making local dishes, and understanding the cultural significance behind each meal. I also learned about sustainable cooking practices using locally sourced fresh produce, such as catching fish and stopping the local food truck on the side of the road. This immersion not only expanded my cooking skills, but also deepened my appreciation for Nicaraguan culture and cuisine. This trip was treated as a college tour, and I'm thankful that I was able to see what it is like cooking in another country. While I was in Nicaragua, I was offered a full-time job in a pastry kitchen with free housing on the beach and a moped. I was offered an internship cooking at the resort I worked at while I was there. Another thing that was important to me that I noticed while I was down there, my screen time went down significantly. There's no need for phones. People are hanging out together, socializing way better. It really made me realize that you don't need all the fancy tools we have here in the U.S. to live a happy and productive lifestyle. And I know most of you were wondering what I did about my grades. I met with most of my teachers and made sure I had all my work completed for the time that I had missed. Most of it had been done before I left and right when I got back. I appreciate all the teachers that were willing to work with me, and I maintained my grades. I am very grateful for this opportunity. It expanded my horizons and improved my culinary skills and knowledge. And then I have a couple pictures of just their couple things that I did there. Those are two of the fish when we went out fishing. It's a bonita and a Spanish, or a king mackerel. And then there's a couple of desserts and one of the breakfasts that we cooked. And thank you guys for listening. If you have any questions.
Yes.
Yeah, are you interested in doing more traveling and experiencing culinary in other places?
Yeah, I'm hoping to kind of travel the world and work in a ton of different kitchens. Just kind of helps you see, like when you work in a lot of kitchens around the world, it helps you see different things and learn different techniques, and I think it's pretty crucial to
For sure.
know all those things. You know?
That's great. Good luck.
Vince?
It'd be remiss of me if I didn't say this. I'm a classically trained French chef.
There you
I worked at it straight out of high school. I trained for 3 years. I got certified. It's just a degree program in Ireland. Simple thing. Short degree, 3 years, as opposed to the standard 4. And I had to learn culinary French, and that was the worst part about it for me, because I did French in high school and only managed to pass, but then improved my French in college. All I can say is good luck to you. It's a career that I did leave, but still love, and it is a very rewarding thing to do. But the best thing you can do is not just buy cookbooks, buy a book called Practical Cookery. It's a teaching book. It's a learning book. It's everything from base sauces right through to fine dining. Enjoy it, and best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Laura?
I just admire so much that you already know where you are going. And now, in terms of those internships, can you make good on those after you graduate? Did they offer that to you in terms of several
Full-time.
years from now?
Yeah. So they're the guys that own the place there, and they're friends of a friend, so they said it's open doors anytime I would like to come down there. And then one of the guys that offered me the job, it was a pretty good deal especially for down there. It was free housing. It was $500 a week for 4 hours of work a day in a pastry kitchen, and I feel like that was a pretty good offer. And then the internship, they did say after like a month of working, they'd get into paying me, and
That's awesome.
it's great
That's
pay down
wonderful.
there, yeah.
So, how did you choose Nicaragua?
I just kind of heard about it, and I heard it was kind of a cool place, and one of my dad's workers, his friend, just told me about it. That's how I kind of got it offered up, and I didn't want to pass up on an opportunity like that, so
Well, congratulations.
thank you.
I just want to say best of luck. This food looks amazing. And out of curiosity, is this like a passion fruit cheesecake?
Yeah, passion fruit
Recognize
cheesecake.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping that you do follow your dreams and you do open a restaurant here,
Yeah.
and you get to incorporate all these different flavors and best of luck.
Thank you.
Wish you good luck, Soren. I wish you had brought some of this in. It's been sort of traditional that the school committee gets to
Would've been
have a
hard,
taste test, but I can
hard to bring
understand.
back in my suitcase, I think.
If I may. I'm really interested, I have two questions for you. Number one, what was the most interesting dish that you cooked in Nicaragua?
I think let me go back to it. I think so. The one right here on the bottom, my left.
Okay. What, do you remember the name of
Yeah.
it?
It wasn't. I didn't really have a name, but it was. So he took a filet mignon and he wrapped it in their bacon, but their bacon down there, it's a lot less processed. So, and you can, you kind of just have to see it and like try it. It's just like, it just tastes a lot more real, and it just looks a lot more real. And then he did a plantain patty. So I took a bunch of plantains, smashed them up, and then made a patty, and then it's like a cranberry sauce on top, and then there's like a little red wine reduction around the side there. That was really good. That was probably my favorite.
That's very cool. Thank you. And my second question is, I can't not ask this. You said you're not going to college, but you would consider Culinary Institute one day, or classes that will support your work towards becoming a master chef.
Yeah, it
someday?
was. It's always been like a question. Oh, why don't you go to like a culinary school or something like that? But it's been like a long thought. But all the people I've talked to, all of the head chefs and everyone that I've worked with, they all say that if you have as many years as I already have under my belt, I'm already quite past a lot of the people that come out of these cooking schools. So they think if I just keep on doing what I'm doing and keep on working in all these different restaurants, they don't see any problem with that.
Pretty, a pretty well thought out, analyzed answer. Thank you.
One suggestion, if I may.
Sure.
Chair. You could approach some of these culinary schools and just enter at an appropriate level, say towards the end, head towards the last phases, as though you already had a lot of experience, so that you could get certified. Paperwork carries you.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, sir.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Chef.
Okay.
Thank you, Soren. I now want to invite our vocational department to come down, and we're going to be starting with the culinary department, and they'll introduce themselves as they come up, and then they'll just go through the group. I especially want to say thanks to Jess Douglas for helping to put together the presentation and corralled everyone to get the information together, and to the whole department. They do a really nice job, and all of their classes are very sought after. So, Chef Roach.
Unlike Soren, I did bring something. But we'll get to that in a second. My name's Tom Proch. In case you don't know who I am, I started teaching culinary in 2014. I must say that I really enjoy the kids, and there's a point where former students who are living in Dallas, Texas, or wherever they are, they're really going after it, and they're getting some great jobs, and it's very rewarding to hear how well they're doing. One of the things I'm going to talk about is something we just previously did. I teach every year, if I can get them, for my hunter friends, a deer that we can fabricate, and I do the lesson in breaking down a whole deer without the skin, the head, and that, but ready for butchery. And I got 3 this year, 1 for each of my culinary classes, so that worked out super. And I email the parents or guardians just to let them know, please have a conversation, in case it's a little too much for the student, but I don't think I've had one yet that didn't want to participate. So the biggest question is, oh, where's the bullet hole? They all want to know. But I tend to invite the anatomy class down so they can see what's going on as well, if it works. I mean, you know, schedules don't always work out, but it's important to me that these kids understand where this is coming from, and I'm very serious about it. I said, we're not going to joke around. It should be respected, and I utilize everything that they're looking at on the board. We'll break it down. I'll do the major butchery, but then the next day they have the legs and they can separate the meat, and it's fascinating, and the kids really get into it. Then I roast the bones, we make a stock, and we're going to utilize it in different dishes that we do. We made sausage yesterday. If I can just pass this to you and pass it down if you would. We made a couple pâtés. Tomorrow we're going to make a big batch of bourguignon. So they get to experience it and try it. And some kids are like, oh, I've never had venison. Well, try it. Don't be afraid. And they'll try it and they'll say, wow, that's awesome. They love it. So it's one of my favorite projects of the year. But these students, when they take culinary, I explain to them, I don't expect anybody to become a chef. If they want to, I'm going to help them pursue it. And if they want to go to culinary school, I'll help them there too. But as Soren was saying, it's true. If you get under the wing of a good chef on Nantucket, and we certainly have some great ones, and I know most of them out here, you could learn everything you need to know. A lot of the chefs, as I said, I know, so I'll plug kids into different restaurants. They get that summer job and they get turned on, and the next thing you know, that's the career they're going for. So it's very rewarding, I must say. Any questions?
No, I'm all set.
What?
Laura?
I gotta do it.
Hit the space bar.
Up.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's the kids working on the various pieces of meat, and they do a good job. As I said, I do the major part of breaking it down, but once it's small enough for them to work with, they do a super job.
I think this is such a rewarding program.
You didn't try the sausage.
I did, because I don't.
That's fine.
But it does smell delicious. I
Didn't
will
get past
say.
me.
I know, it always
Tim is
stops
having
at Tim,
my
I don't know why.
But I just, and just as, Soren was saying, and as you're pointing out, you can learn all those skills. You don't, all roads don't lead to a degree program. And I think that that's a wonderful thing. And I think Nantucket is unique in that way.
Absolutely.
And that you
I
have
mean-
so many connections as
And
well.
the talent out here is just incredible. And I remember when I first came out here in 1983, I was working at a place called the Opera House, and I remember walking around town, and every other building had a menu board on it. I mean, the competition, if you will, out here is incredible. So it keeps everybody wanting to move up and up. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Wonderful. Do you have that Caesar salad recipe?
Of course I do.
I might ask.
But I'm going to tell you something. I work for Michael Shannon, if you know who he is. He never wrote down a single recipe.
Oh my gosh.
Everything I learned from him, I had to pay attention. And that's what I tell the students. Watch everything I do. It may not look important the way I'm holding this or the way I'm doing this, but every single thing is important. And while I'm talking about Michael Shannon, it's 4 years now that he passed away on the 14th. And when his daughter called me, I was in the kitchen roasting bones and making stock, and he was an absolute master at sauces and stocks, so it was kind of fitting.
Esmeralda?
No questions.
They got 160 deer the first day.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you were able to get 3.
Now the rest are hiding in my neighborhood, I guess.
Well, there's been talk of 10,000 deer out here, but that's, no, I think it's wonderful whether the kids go into cooking professionally or they learn how to cook at home, so that they can make a meal.
That's right.
So if they go to college, they don't starve or have to go to Mickey D's.
Yeah.
I
No, I
think
tell
that-
them, I say, look, your parents are going to be kicking you out soon, so you better learn to cook for at least for yourself. And if, like I said, if they want to pursue it, I'm there to help them.
But I think it's a skill that's has been neglected in the past.
Absolutely.
But I think it's so important for kids to have exposure to it, so it's not quite so
And I explain to the
intimidating.
kids that knowing how to cook for yourself, you're going to save a lot of money. So I'm teaching them also how to break down a whole chicken. And look, that's 3 meals, maybe 4 meals out of one chicken. And every time the butcher has to take a knife to it, the price is going up. So if you can buy a whole chicken, you're going to turn that, saving money is making money.
Do you-
I just wanted to thank you. I mean, this is such an amazing program, and it's wonderful that a school district that is, and this is really for all the vocations here, that is a small district has such high quality vocational programs.
Yeah,
So
we're
thank
very
you
lucky.
very much. And we might want to move this to have other
Yes,
people try it.
absolutely.
Otherwise, Dr. Lepre will be eating the whole place. So.
Any more questions?
No, thank you very much.
Take another one. I'm going to pass it into the audience.
Good, thank
Oh,
you.
don't. Okay? That's delicious.
Hi.
Hey, Mike.
Okay, we're starting off with wood shop. I'm Mike Irvin. I teach the wood shop classes. I teach Wood Tech 1 for novice woodworkers, Wood Tech 2 for kids that have taken Wood Tech 1, and I teach the carpentry class to juniors and seniors who are interested in building. This is a picture right here of one of my classes just collaborating on the Martha's Vineyard chimney that we burn now at the at the bonfire. And that was just a fun project, kind of off the cuff. These are some of my kids roofing one of the sheds that's out back right now. I couldn't bring that kind of thing in for you guys to look at, but this is a fun class. It's great teamwork. There's a long list of islanders that are in the queue to get a shed. They open an account that I sign on at Island Lumber. I like to use them just for parking and ease, even though Marine Home Center is wonderful as well. And then Toscana delivers them for free, and then the recipients make a donation to the high school wood shop, which you guys have all seen the checks, I think, roll through here before. And that goes to our programs in automotive and horticulture and whatnot. And this is a picture of my Wood 2 kids. I love the mix of boys and girls. I think it's cool to see a lot of young ladies getting into a wood shop, which traditionally wasn't a comfort zone for some of them. These are shaker tables that we all made back in the first part of this past semester, and they all did a wonderful job. Those are hardwood tops. They painted the bases whatever they wanted to paint them, whatever colors they want, and they're all mortise and tenon jointed. There's no fasteners on it at all except for the screws holding the tops into the frames, and they do a great job. My Wood 1 kids, we start off making cutting boards. If you went to December Delight, you would have seen several that they were making. This is a quarter board that a senior, Olivia, made, and it's really beautiful. That I've never had her in class before, but it's a highly sought after class. I think Wood Tech 1 is one of the more popular requests among our kids. And anyway, she did a beautiful job hand painting. I'll leave that there for a second. And then this is another one. This is a kid named Arlen who's immigrated here from Guatemala. And I got him a little bit later in September. And this is what he banged out, his name, and hand-painted Guatemalan flags, which is really cool. Kids will do bands, they'll do lyrics to songs, they'll do family names, they'll do, heritage, where they're from. They'll do sports teams, sports idols. And then the other Wood 1 kids are now moving on to pens, which we turn on the lathe. And this starts off on a mandrel. They get 2 little blocks of wood. They bore them out and epoxy a brass tube into them. And then that goes on the lathe, and then they turn it, and then the kit goes together. And if you go down to the farmer's market in the summer, there's a retired guy that sells these things for about 35 bucks a piece, and the pen kit's worth about 2. And so it's cool. So the kids bang a lot of these out, and especially the seniors for December Delight, and for gifts for teachers. And you can buy ink cartridges for them and whatnot. And then my Wood 2 kids were moving into a project with the CNC machine that Mandy Bar actually helped us to buy, where we're going to do more computer-driven woodworking, which is kind of cool. It's out of my wheelhouse. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but we'll figure it out as we go. And Joanne Johnson's working with us on that as well. And if you want to see any of our other things that the kids make, there's a ton of them out there, but I had to get them to bring stuff back in. But at our show in January, the Wintertide Arts Show, which really showcases a lot of what the kids do in woodshop. And they have a lot of fun. I keep them safe. I haven't lost any fingers. And that's it. Any questions for Wood?
I have
All good?
I have a question, but I know my mom always said, take one of Gerb's classes, and
Oh,
I
sorry.
never did.
You never took one?
I never
Yeah,
took one of your
I know you
classes,
did.
and I'm regretting it. I think I should.
You should.
But never fit in the schedule,
Well, it's tough, right? It is.
It is tough.
It's competitive. I teach a lot of Wood 1 classes just for that reason. I do 2 a semester, so I end up with 48 kids during the year that take that course. It's hard to get into.
We had a great time in Galapagos, though. So
What's that?
we had a great time in Galapagos.
We did. So I didn't have you as a student, but I remember when you were born, and when we traveled to the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. We had dinner every night. And she liked plantains.
Oh yes.
Laura?
Questions?
Just that, I think, if I may through the chair, you also help with the stagecraft.
I do a lot of the stage craft
Yes,
stuff.
that's an
Thank you
important
for that.
Helpful.
For-
Welcome, I just think it's important.
We built
to
a lot of
mention.
sets over the years,
Yes.
and yeah, we do stuff around the school. We help demo and stuff in a pinch and do plastering.
Yeah, and you did the podium and.
Did the
so-
podium.
Yes.
Thank you.
Singing your praises, Herb. Just singing.
And I will reimburse you for those praises.
Esmeralda?
I have no questions.
All good?
I
Yes, sir.
went to a Catholic high school, and we did not have woodworking.
Right.
And it's something I think I really missed.
Yeah, I didn't have it in high school either. We had a great tech wing, but we didn't have wood.
I think it's important for kids
Well,
to
And out
be able
here,
to do something.
yeah, just like Tom was saying about the culinary, the number of kids out here that have gone through my shop classes, but Derek's as well, and the other ones that have gone on to Wentworth, that are like the Clark brothers, or not Emmett, but Charlie's up there killing it in Boston, in a corner office, I think, now doing design work, and I think we have 3 or 4 up there this year, and they're all doing construction management. Tyler Rothke went and transferred from BC to UMass and went into construction management. Yeah, it's good to see.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah, they can bring those skills back home.
You just answered my question, so, just now, I was gonna say how many kids
Oh.
have moved on into the construction
Oh, a
field.
bunch. Yeah, it's awesome.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Mike.
thank you.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Jess Douglas. I teach nursing and allied health. Here are some students doing ostomy care. Stephanie Ray came in as a guest speaker from the VNA. We have guest speakers from time to time. So we basically have Intro to Nursing, Nursing 2, and Nursing and Allied Health 3. Intro is a very light introduction into careers in healthcare, focus a lot on professionalism, communication, teamwork, and safety. They end with a resume, cover letter, mock interview. Nursing and Allied Health 2 gets more into patient care skills like ADLs, activities of daily living. Here are 2 students washing the hair of a volunteer patient who pretended to be bedbound and couldn't get out of bed. And then Nursing 3 is new this year. We focus more on diseases, disorders of each body system. So each unit goes through a different body system, medications for that body system, treatments. So we just did the urinary system, learned a lot about kidneys, and then we had a guest speaker from the hospital who was amazing, talked to us about dialysis, and then we did a field trip to go see the dialysis machine, how it was set up, and how treatments work. And we had Maddie Iller, who was class of 21, just recently came back as a guest speaker. She's in her senior year at George Washington University. She is working on an ambulance down there. She shared that she got to go on some actual ambulance calls to the White House, which was pretty exciting. So she shared about her college experience, her time working as a paramedic, her plans for the future, and it was great to see some high school alumni come back and share what great stuff they're up to.
Okay.
And, do you want to go first?
No, I don't have any questions.
Just to say thank you to Jess for a previous class that she taught me before she was doing this. She was obviously doing the prenatal natal classes, which is where I first met her, and to say thank you for that. I'm delighted to see you that you've continued your education initiatives at a different level, and thrilled you're here.
Thank you. No, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
Laura?
I think we're so lucky with all of our vocational programs. And this, you just introduced Nursing 3 this year. So what has that been like?
It's smaller this year. I only have 4 students, but in Nursing 2 this year I have 21 students. So I think the program is building, it's growing. Intro to Nursing is a semester course, and I offer 2 each semester. So it's definitely building. So I think it'll be even bigger next year.
I'm sure. And then the students do they spend a great deal of time at the hospital?
School to career. I think there are 12 students in school to career doing the hospital right now. Shonda Bartlett runs that, but we follow them. I have a lot of them in my classes too, and they'll be like, well, I'm in pharmacy this week, or I'm in labor and delivery, and they're very excited about the experience.
Great. Thank you.
Esmeralda?
No questions. It's just, sounds amazing.
Well, I think from my perspective at the hospital, what you're doing is tremendous because if we can get a nurse who lives here, it is such a bonus financially for the hospital and also for the patients in the hospital because I've always felt that the hospital should really be neighbors taking care of neighbors. Right now, we have a lot of travelers, so you sort of lose that familiarity and comfort. And so I think this is tremendous, and congratulations.
Thank you. Well, that's the reason I came over here when I pitched it to Dr. Bucky years ago. I was like, we see a lot of turnover. I would love to get a local farm team of hospital staff that could be like a little pipeline, and they could either inherit housing or build a second dwelling on their parents' lot. Like, we have to be creative because of the housing situation here. So, and I think on the horizon will be more dentistry and hygienist. We got a lot of kids going into Robert's Family Dental, and they just reached out about a connection with Cape Cod and hygiene school. So I think that could be another great way to go.
If I may, through the chair, I had the pleasure of being a guest speaker while I was still in a wheelchair coming to the class. But it was wonderful. It was your nursing 3 class, am I right? They were very inquisitive and had lots of good questions and took good care of me in the time I was there. It was one of my first, ventures out to do anything. So it was nice, and they probably got way more
They loved
information.
looking at your x-rays
My
and
x-rays.
learned a lot. So it was good.
Yeah. So thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm here to talk about horticulture and agriculture. I'm going to pass around for you. These are some of the vegetables that these students have grown. So one of the things that we are focusing on is sustainability and what we can grow in this climate, and acknowledging all the fantastic work that has been done by Sustainable Nantucket here, helping to incubate farmers and bring folks up. We have the wonderful blessing here of having a greenhouse. We have in the greenhouse, the larger picture shows with these beautiful raised beds in there. So this year, the students have been growing. They have more than 17 varieties of vegetables growing in the greenhouse right now. Now that we've finally had some continued cold spells, we're starting to ease off on some of the warmer weather crops that we were able to grow for quite a while. They have, whether the students are in horticulture class or agriculture class, they have both gotten to choose seeds to plant, research what they're going to do with planting it, what the needs are, designing their spacing, how they're going to do that. And once they plant it, they have been caring for their garden beds that they have planted since they did that in September, which is great to get the buy-in, especially when we're working on something more book-focused. So for example, working on photosynthesis, some of the kids asked, hey, can we take a break from this and go out to the greenhouse? I just want to spend time with the plants, which is fantastic as it gives kids a different way of doing things. So this is their hard work. You've got carrots there that they have grown in various different colors. Peas, snap peas, there's some snow peas in there. There's also some purple pea pods. There's some beets. I think a few chard leaves made into there. There's some broccolini. They had spinach go to seed, and we're about to pick the spinach seeds, let them dry, and see if next semester we can actually grow spinach from our own seeds that we harvested. We have in the classroom, when it's rainy out, we have been exploring, going through different gardening books, all with a sustainable focus, and diving into the books not with anything specific in mind, but spending time in students reporting back about something that they found interesting in the book, which is a great way to work on their public speaking skills and their skills to pitch their idea and thoughts to an audience. So whether they go into landscaping, design work, something within the field, whether they work and sell stuff at the farmer's market, ways to interact with other people and sell themselves and their ideas. Here they are making some notes and observations about what they have grown. And the last slide shows part of our greenhouse. One of the projects that the horticulture class has been working on is designing and pitching an idea of what should the pathway be there. I am new to this job this year. When I came in, I discovered that we actually had rubber mulch out around the plants. When we talk about PFAS and sustainability and taking care of our water supply on our island, all the students came to the conclusion of, wow, we need to take this out. So we took it all out, and they have all done projects researching what they believe the best material is to put back in its place, something that is sustainable for our environment, is mindful of cost, and thinks about how we use the space. One of my greatest joys working with these students is I have students who their parents are landscapers. They're looking forward to going into the family business, and they're starting to see that maybe there's something I can plant other than privet for privacy screening. I teach them a different native plant each week. I know most of it goes out of their heads, but they're starting to think back and realize and think, hey, could I do that with native plants? As it would increase my profit margins and be kinder to the island. At the same time, because I teach marine science, they get this great background, seeing local sea creatures in the fish tank in the room and asking, hey, what are scallops? Scallops are great. This is why we need to watch out about our fertilizers. And it all ties back together, and they're all able to see it. They're a really cool group of kids, and I'm excited to see what they do. Any questions?
I've got one question.
Yes.
Did you guys end up picking what's gonna go on the walkway?
So we are going to get a contractor in to drop some wood mulch for the winter. And the reason being that will help hold everything in place and add some nutrients to the soil.
Yeah.
In the spring, we're going to come back and actually add some more plants in.
Great.
We've got some cool pieces of stone that we can add in from the existing patio project that they did last year. We've got some great resources to work with.
I also use wood mulch. It's great.
Right, you can't go wrong with it. And we know that our plants, especially after the rubber mulch, need some extra nutrients, so the wood mulch is a great help us forward.
For sure. Thanks.
Marvelous. So it seems like there's three kind of components to this: the horticulture side of it, the agriculture side of it, and the aquaculture side is also an incoming component. So I got kind of an overarching question on all three. For the horticulture side, you've got lots of landscapers that you could look to partner with. And for the agriculture side, we have a number of small farms, good farms here. That have you sought partnerships with those?
Yes, so we have a partnership with Sustainable Nantucket, and we have been working with them. They are an absolutely amazing partner and tremendous resource in our community. And what's so neat is a lot of our small farmers here are actually Nantucket grads.
And the last part of my question is, and without wishing to cross boundaries or lines, if you need a tour of the shellfish hatchery, I can organise that.
We have it on the schedule, but I appreciate another connection. Thank you. That is a winter activity for us once they get back going again and are actually growing things.
More?
So you have all these beautiful vegetables. Do you also work with the culinary department to share your produce?
So one of our challenge is we do have more space to add more beds in the greenhouse. Right now, it is hard for us to grow enough of something for them to really actually be able to do something with. And admittedly, most of what we pick, the kids go out to the greenhouse and just start harvesting and eating vegetables. They don't even, most of the time they do wash them because we have an outdoor spigot, but they are so excited to go out and eat peas and carrots and just munch on lettuce. They come and, wow, I never knew I liked lettuce before. This is taste. So it's snack time every day in my class when we go to the greenhouse.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Esmeralda?
This is a new class or recently new?
No, they have been around for 5 to 7 years. I am new being back at NHS.
Is this a full semester class?
Yes,
Semester?
so these are full semester classes. I'm hoping in the future that we can get a horticulture 2 class going on, so a spring and fall class, so that kids can follow through with work that they've started and experience the full growing season.
Amazing.
Thank you.
I think this is wonderful. Again, something that is useful, whether you're having a home garden or you go into it professionally. I think it's tremendous.
This
And
is
it
what
probably-
I wish I had in high school here, and we didn't have in my day.
And probably goes along very well with Tom's treats.
So I have two questions. One is, do you bring your students, at least at the beginning of the year, to the the little community garden, not community garden, but the little sustainable garden next to the central office?
We do, so we are over there a lot.
A lot, okay.
A lot.
Just curious.
That's, hopefully we were quiet enough not to disrupt you guys, but we, when it's nice out, we're over there 2 days a week.
And the second thing is, I mean, growing food, growing plants is not a quick thing. It is a long time. How do you keep students engaged and excited to be part of this when it's like, you gotta wait a while before you see a product?
You do. So I did try to strategize for my farming work what could yield some quick rewards. So the very first thing that we planted was lettuce, microgreens specifically, so that we could get that quick result, get that hook, and keep getting them involved. And we had the gift of the greenhouse being very warm starting out. So we planted seeds on a Thursday and Friday, and we came back on Monday, and they were able to see that they had germinated. That was the weather gift we had to give that natural hook to the class was fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derek Molson. I've been the automotive shop teacher here for probably about 10 years or so. So anyway, as we do, just to let you guys know, usually our cars don't get that bad. We usually find them all before they're just disassembled at that point. But originally, I came from motorsports background. I grew up in a famous garage, motorsports, all the way up through kind of basically belt manufacturing for NASCAR and IndyCar and NHRA. When I was about 29 or so, I had the opportunity. Bob Day, of all people called me up. He's like, Derek, you got to come by. I was like, all right. So I've been a teacher since, so hopefully everything's going well. So basically do 2 classes. We do an introduction to automotive and advanced automotive. My introduction is essentially, it's a 1 semester course, so we try to rotate through as many kids as we possibly, can get through in a year. And what it really covers is just the automotive bumps and bruises and normalcies of life. This is going to be your fluid maintenance, your basically a small suspension service, things of that nature. All of a sudden you'll be driving, it's becoming cooler now, all right? So we've had our temperature swings. Now you got a lot of people coming in with like tire pressure lights. You've got a lot of people looking at like winter maintenance, batteries, it slows down. Yes, you know what I mean? We have, many of our customers may or may not be in the building today. So, that's kind of where our introduction goes. One of the things is as we transition more into our advanced, which is where we get more into like drivability. So we still have to kind of go back and refresh a little bit with our fluids and our brakes and all of the basic stuff that, it seems to be 2 months of summer vacation. Not even 2 months. I feel like we don't get that anymore. 8 weeks of summer break. They seem to forget a lot. So it's a quick little refresher to get those kids back up to speed. And we'll get them in small gas engines so you can kind of see, this is actually 2 of our students right there adding fuel to it. That one ran right off the bat. They did awesome. It was one of the next one didn't go so well. We fixed that one though. So as the kids go through, we try to keep it fun. We try to keep it lighthearted. The reality is it's the automotive industry or any technical industry. It is difficult to get into unless someone kind of introduces you at a young age. And at that young age, if you can learn to have a little bit of fun with it and enjoy it, it pays massive dividends through your 20s and 30s if you stay in that career, because all of a sudden you learn that lighthearted funness of it, but you also learn the integrity, the safety aspect. You know what I mean? Our good old Midas commercial, you know, if your brakes don't stop you, something will. All right. So at the end of the day, we don't want to be, you know, that person that's just like, I'm really sorry, you know, must have been speeding, as we bump the back of somebody because our brakes have been making this awful noise for 6 months. So that's kind of really where it comes geared to. So I've been fortunate enough to be in the automotive industry for almost 30 years at this point. And so all of that experience, whether it be from just everyday driving back and forth to Stop and Shop on our daily vehicles to professional motorsports and cars that do 230 miles an hour. I try to bring some of that into there and try to find something that the kids like, and that's kind of how we, set the little hook for automotive. And then at that point, if we can get them into engineering, thinking at that kind of next higher level, thermal transfer and everything of that nature, hopefully we can eliminate some of the doors being ejected from Boeing airplanes and things of that nature in the future for you. Make your flights a little bit more comfortable. I'm kind of an aerospace guy as well, so everything that we kind of do, we'll look at different videos, we'll look at a lot of different engineering principles. And so it's not just automotive, it's a little bit of everything from the marine industry to aerospace to building bridges, because, that's a pretty big deal. You don't like seeing those fall apart. It's not a great thing for the morning commute. Or when a boat hits one, that's not a good thing either. So, navigation systems and make sure the fuel systems are good. But yeah, so that's kind of where we go with our automotive program. For the most part, when the kids finish up, they'll have gone through, they'll have taken an engine all the way down to the crankshaft, rebuilt it, got it all back together, complain to me why it doesn't seem to run right, and I'm like, I'm telling you, you missed something, and then all of a sudden they find it, you know what I mean? So it's like that smile of success that they kind of get, little things along those nature, and it's rewarding, you know what I mean? Because where you see the kids at 3 months, 6 months, and then the kids that come back for like, 2 years or so, and all of a sudden they're still coming back and hanging out in the shop. I'm like, aren't you supposed to be in another class? Like, I'm not going to that class, I'm hanging out here. I'm like, all right, that's fine. Call your teacher. So yeah, so that's kind of what we, how we end up kind of going with that. You guys have any questions? I know you guys have been here a long night already. I'm trying to make it kind of short and sweet for everyone. Sure.
So for the kids that are returning consistently, what do they end up doing afterwards? Do they go to a trade school, or do they go into fixing local cars?
It's all different. We've got, so you got like Barrett Automotive, you got Billy Bill, you got Nantucket Auto Body, you have a whole bunch of these different local shops, and every single one of these shops is hungry for talent of, people that are interested in working on it. You either have that where they can stay local, they go on to, like you said, different institutions, different things where they can get certifications. Then you also have like colleges that kind of specialize in this as well. I'm just going to use where I went to, Morrisville. We've had a couple kids end up going to there. And SUNY Morrisville is a program where you can basically get a bachelor's in a business degree, have it in automotive technology, and that'll set you up for basically managing either, some sort of automotive service center or something where you want to own your garage, or just pretty much anything you want to do in life. It's a good business degree to get yourself going someplace. So there's a lot of different options, and then some of the kids, are just into, honestly, what kind of got me into performance and speed, right? I was in my early 20s, and I like race cars, and basically some of the things that the kids do is they'll go out to, say, Watkins Glen with their families over the summer, and they'll just see some SCCA GT1 cars, and they'll be like, that's what 700 horsepower does. I want a part, And so, yeah, at that point, so, they kind of go work with those teams. I don't know, the automotive industry is kind of interesting because it's one of those ones where if you can just basically, anyone who's interested in doing it, if you're interested in doing it at a high level, you'll be successful. You just show that drive, you show that you want to do things, you know what I mean? You understand what some of those engineering principles are, all your basic torque specifications, and I hope that wheel doesn't fall off. Please tell me you torque that child. But yeah, that's kind of how we go with it. But.
Laura?
No questions. I know it's a really popular class. My son loved it. I wish he would use his skills on my car more frequently. But he loved your class, and I know that he's
Glad to hear that.
So thank you.
Excellent.
Esmeralda?
Curiosity, are a lot of the cars you worked on are student cars, faculty?
Yep, student, faculty,
volunteers?
parents. Yeah, so volunteers is a good, you know what I mean? It's a 16-year-old working on your car. In all honesty, a lot of it is, again, our faculty members. It's Nantucket. We have cobblestones. There's no shortage of cars that need a little bit of love and attention. So we kind of have a natural honestly, it's a natural textbook. You know, things that come in here just on rotation. So every class gets to see something a little bit different, how a different manufacturer does it, and so all of that kind of, when you look at that over a 3 to 6 month spectrum or a year, 2 year spectrum, the experience that they gather from that, it's pretty impressive because you see it over a wide array of manufacturers, and then you also see what tends to hold up. And unfortunately, there's a couple car manufacturers out there that you pay some really top dollar for that kind of, this island has like basically a 2 year plan for. They're done. So it's kind of funny how it works, you know. But,
Well, thank you very much.
Josh,
I mean,
thank you very much. Have a great night.
I remember back when I had a 55 Chevy.
They were better then.
They were better then. But I was surprised some of my classmates didn't know where the dipstick was.
No, you ask someone to adjust points on something like that. That's another one right there.
Yeah.
You know. Exactly.
Okay,
Guys, have a
thank
great
you.
evening.
So I'm just going to finish up real quickly with our criminal justice program. Officer Thompson did present earlier in the semester, so but we didn't want to leave her out. She is part of the vocational program. Another class that's very well received by our students. She included a couple of things that they do. It's always fun to see them in the Hall of the Well or in the hallways when they're doing this with the drunk goggles, and she puts them through like a sobriety test so that they learn what that's like. They talk about what it's like if they get put in jail or they're incarcerated, and she brings in guest speakers pretty regularly. So she counts on some of her own colleagues. And I also just want to finish off by saying how proud we are of all of our teachers, and they are really proud of their programming, and I think you can see that. And our students love it. So we do have, and she left already, but we found a gym in Heather where she's able to do the sustainable agriculture, the horticulture, and we kind of tied those together, and the marine science, and huge kudos to Mandy Bardsley for helping out with that, and with the nursing program that we've been working on for a couple of years to build that up. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, after that, we're up at federal grants.
Won't be as exciting, I'm sorry. No snacks. That's right. So the federal grants, I run the Title 1, 2, and 4. Barbara Cohen runs 3, and Deb Gately runs IDEA. Our grants are strategically aligned to our DIP, so we're looking at defining, implementing, and supporting high-impact tier practices, and through that, we connected that to our summer school program that will be running again in 2025. We use Title 1 and 3 funds for that for 5 weeks of instruction, and we also use this title grant for professional development. We use Title 1 is focused on reading instruction, and 3 is focused on language acquisition for our L's, and 4 is focused on behavior management and social emotional learning. We also tie it to our initiative 2.2, which is promoting diverse, high-quality workforce, and we use this for our mentoring program. This year we have 35 new teachers at NPS, so this does fund our mentoring program. It also goes towards 3.1 for fostering a sense of belonging, which is tied to our parent engagement that goes through Title 3 with our LPAC. For Title 1, we did go down this year. We only have $83,495,000 Title 1. We have used that for a teaching assistant salary at NIS. We have other expenses for $1,140,000 and $3,707 for supplies and other materials, and that will probably go towards our summer school programming. The other grants we have in Title is Title II, $27,445. That goes towards our mentoring stipends and supplies. Title III is $51,581, and that goes for summer school teachers, online platforms, family engagement, and the last one is what we have to pay in Medicare. And Title IV is $12,049, and that is actually this year they allowed us to flex that towards Title I. So this will be for our responsive classroom. And that is it for title. Any questions on title grants?
What was the amount it was decreased to 83,000?
It was last year it was 166,000. So it went down considerable. For some reason, Martin might be able to speak better to this. It has been fluctuating up and down for the past couple years. Our three schools, our elementary school, our intermediate school, and our middle school are all Title I schools, but it has gone down this year.
If I may, it depends on our free and reduced lunch numbers, our economically disadvantaged numbers, and we are right on the cusp of a certain limit. And so some years we're a little above, some years we're a little below. And I think that we keep fluctuating back and forth based on our very slight changes. So, and I don't know, Martin, if there's anything else that you felt. No.
They based also on the census.
The census, yeah.
And I have no idea how that we fluctuate between. For years it used to be $120,000 to $124,000. It stayed solid there, and then it dipped to 60,000. One of the years 63,000, went up to 166, goes down to 83. It's been lately it's been going up and down, so we don't know. We'll see whether the new administration coming in, whether that affects federal funding in general. So we're monitoring, but it's been fluctuating the past 3 years.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Deb Gately, the Director of Special Services, and I will be talking about the IDEA Federal Entitlement Grant. Once again, this focuses solely on individuals with disabilities in the district, and at the current point that we're at about 330 kids. Special Services as a department, we're now up to 132 employees that are qualified under that department, but a portion of those, that staff, of course, is dedicated to special education. And as an entitlement, when a student qualifies for special education services as a student with a disability, the federal government is very clear on what students are entitled to. The IEP, which is only a very small component of it, is what we spend a lot of our time working on and making sure that students are receiving the correct services and are able to maintain our parent school communication. In considering looking at the entitlement grants, we are also awarded our funding based on our population and our enrollment within special education programming. As a reminder, and I've talked about this in past presentations, this also includes students that attend our private schools on the island who qualify for disabilities for special education services, because as Nantucket residents and parents who are Nantucket taxpayers, they are entitled to this money. So the word entitlement flows very much through all of this. We too were decreased in our grant allocation this year, and I'm going to get to that in a moment. But our total allocation was $445,699, which again, I want to also qualify a couple of things in that we continue to be very solidly supported by the district within our department for programming, but we would not be able to do what we do without this grant. 182,000, just a little under 183,000, I should say, is for professional salaries that are qualified to also have to pay money towards their retirement. So we qualify salaries, but also we configure that as well as Medicare expenses. So you can see towards the bottom of that first section, close to $20,000 out of our grant money is paid for benefits for those positions. Contracted services is just around $93,000. And then I wanted to point out that in terms of equitable services for private schools, we have to allocate, there's a percentage that the federal government delineates that we pay $23,425 for allocation of services for students who attend private schools. Our 262 grant, which is also IDEA, is specifically focused on early childhood education, and we have chosen, for all 4 years that I've been here, we allocate that $10,197 to partially fund an early childhood teaching assistant. So as I mentioned, our fund allocation for this year for our 240 IDEA grant is down just about $20,000. And it's really for a good reason, although it's disappointing that we lost the money. For the past 3 school years, the district had been found significantly disproportionate in special education eligibility determination. So what that means is specifically for students who were qualified or identified, as Hispanic, Latino, or Black African American students, we had a very high percentage rate of kids who were being qualified for special education. In the 23-24 school year, which they use that data to determine our following year's funding, we have for the first time in 3 years not been found significantly disproportionate. So credit and kudos to our teaching staff, our special education administrators that work directly in assisting and qualifying. And what that's largely attributed to is changes in practices and focusing more on students in the MTSS process, or the multi-tiered system of support progress, as well as what interventions can be implemented prior to special education eligibility. And there's been a lot of work focused on that. So again, it was disappointing to lose that money, but it was sort of for a good reason. For contractual services, we have allocated just about $58,000. We are implementing our new IEP program in conjunction with the new IEP form that the state of Massachusetts has now implemented. We continue to retain our landmark consultant from the Landmark School in Beverly, and she is now consulting for all 4 schools because we have brought in Orton Gillingham training to our elementary school this year as well. The private school services and our resolution funds that we receive, we, for the first time, this is the 2nd year in a row that we've done this. Counseling services are being provided at Nantucket New School. For those of you familiar with the provision of private school services, we have to have the private school students come to the public schools to receive services, but we were able to hire a former NPS counselor to be able to provide the service at the school, which, again, for students with social emotional concerns, leaving their school to go counsel somewhere else is anxiety provoking. So we try to eliminate that by allowing the person to go there. I am hoping with federal funding in the future to consider in our department to be able to expand that beyond counseling, and hopefully we will get there. Our contractual services, again, we have expended a considerable amount of funding in the past 2 years towards Orton Gillingham certification training. Now, to qualify this again, within the state of Massachusetts Department of Education, when we provide specialized reading instruction, there is no definition of what program we need to have. As a district, we've adopted Orton Gillingham. Last year, we spent $62,000, and that was allocated for a 2-year training cohort. And this year, we've added teachers for another $22,000. So we work with 2 providers from the Orton Gillingham Academy that provide this direct instruction. By the time this is all said and done, we will have 3 certified teachers at the elementary school, 3 at the intermediate, 2 at the middle school, and 3 at the high school. I do want to point out there are also EL teachers that have been participating in this, as well as reading interventionists. But in terms of what our grant has paid for, the EL teachers and reading interventionists were supported by their individual department or school. So it's a huge, the Orton Gillingham Academy providers have stated on more than one occasion to other school districts that the initiative that Nantucket has taken on is pretty considerable. in looking at providing this training. That's it. All right. So, title grants and IDEA, they are ongoing. In order to maintain the quality PD, we do need to increase our general fund budget lines. And again, I want to emphasize, especially in terms of professional development, we have received the support that we need to be able to do that. And we will always continue to prioritize our district improvement plans, strategic initiatives in looking at how we use our title grant money. Any questions?
I just have one note. So you mentioned that you will have a counselor go to the new school?
Yeah.
What about the Lighthouse School?
So the Lighthouse School has retained their own counselor.
Oh,
We
okay.
allocate the funding for the Lighthouse School for the reading services that are provided to those students, as well as the Landmark consultant also provides direct consultation to them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we take that, and again, the money is allocated according to a formula, so the number of students from each school, that's how the proportionate share works. And then configured into that amount is also students who have to be evaluated, and if they receive any other services. We do a lot of observations and consultations, which again, I did, Michelle, who is our coordinator of special ed, and I did a presentation at New School this year where we talked about the interventions that we can support them with prior to special education referral, and they were incredibly receptive and appreciative to that, and we've had ongoing conversations. We're working with one student from the New School who the parent was looking for progress monitoring during the year that the school didn't necessarily provide, and one of our teachers, with the assistance, Becky Janda, has been assisting in that process. So we continue to have a very positive relationship with the private schools, and I am required as part of the grant funding, as well as all of our other directors, to meet with the private schools to talk about how our funding works and what we can provide.
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Marilyn?
I have no questions.
It's interesting.
Thanks.
I would love to know what the algorithm is that leads to cuts in these, because I don't think we've changed over the last 5 years, really.
Yeah, I would just say, like I said, the elimination of that extra $20,000 was just a reflection that we've now reconfigured some of our identification processes. I don't think there are any fewer students of Hispanic, Latino origin, or African American Black students who haven't qualified. I think it's just the pacing and how it's been happening. The kids have still been receiving direct support, but it may not be special education support, which is part of what we as a district have worked incredibly hard on over the past few years, to look at other options before that, because the special education eligibility process is tenuous and it's long, and it's to try to go through and have a student engage in all of that when we can come up with other solutions before that. It's incredibly important to look at those.
How do we handle it with our Hispanic students where the parents may not speak English? So how do we evaluate them?
Oh, I will tell you, we extend our resources far and wide. For all of our students that are qualified to receive a bilingual evaluation, I'm not going to lie, I use my resources from my former district in the Boston Public Schools. Michelle David, from having worked in the Worcester Public Schools, we bring evaluators in every month who test our kids in Spanish, Portuguese, are our primary languages that we test in. So the evaluations are incredibly authentic and valid because we have native speakers trained as school psychologists to actually test our students. We also do that with the related services for speech. Kathy Bruno, who is one of our former speech pathologists, comes over once a month and does that. She does screenings as well as evaluations. And so our motto is basically get it done, and we have to figure it out.
Is speech once a month enough? Having somebody come over for evaluation?
Oh, we would love it. We currently have 4 speech providers in the district. We would love to have one of them be bilingual. But we are meeting compliance by having her come over once a month. Yeah. Yeah. And because she's able to really, and because she has previously established relationships with a lot of our staff, she gets a lot of the work done ahead of time, which is great. But again, and I'm also incredibly grateful for having a dedicated interpreter translator in our department and 4 other staff members in our department, in our office, who are bilingual as well. It's been a long time getting there, but we're developing stronger relationships with families as a result, and also getting to the core of what kids need.
Thank you.
All right, thanks very much.
Okay, moving on to committee discussions and votes to be taken. A vote to approve the donation of the tennis backboard.
So moved.
Second with a letter of approval. Sorry, with a letter of thanks.
A letter of thanks. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
A vote to approve Nantucket Public Schools 2025, 2026 school calendar.
So
Was the
moved.
draft we saw last time.
Yeah, so moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Transfers and invoices.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Student council representative.
Oh, me already. Wow, look at that. Yeah, so we have had a busy couple of weeks. Actually, busy month. I'm sure Nora reported last time quite a bit. The first thing I have to report on is the Acts and Nats activity, the Accidentals and Naturals. They've had a few performances, or a couple performances this month. On the 7th, they performed at Stroll. That was at, I want to say 3 o'clock on Main Street. They sounded fantastic, as always. And then just yesterday, they had their annual dessert cabaret, which consisted of 2 shows, one at 6 and one at 7:30 last night. Both shows had a great turnout, and they also held auctions of items donated from local stores and restaurants. That helped to raise money for the group and will be put towards their trip to New York this coming April, which they are all looking forward to. Also, National Honor Society the past couple weeks started a Candygram fundraiser. It started on the 10th and they sold until the 12th. And then just today, the Candygrams got delivered. They raised a bit of money for that, which was great. And it's fun for students to send their friends a candy bag. And then last week, on the half day, Wednesday the 11th, was the NHS Band and Chorus concert, which was very good. One of our better ones in the past few, personally. The band went first, and then the chorus. Both are amazing. Tom Papard and Aaron McKeever are both fantastic. We love them lots. Last week, the musical auditions happened both Tuesday and Thursday after school. The musical will be The Little Mermaid. We're all very excited about that. And the callbacks went out on Friday, so we should be expecting results pretty soon for the official cast. Oh, yes. On the 14th, the seniors hosted the annual December Delight. It was a fantastic turnout. Setup was Friday night, and then Saturday morning it started at 9 and ended at 3. it was a lot of hard work put in by a lot of people. It was amazing how everyone came together and worked hard, and it went really well. I personally saw, I don't know how, I don't have numbers on how many people went, but it felt like a lot. Miss Lombardi, Miss Parsons, Miss Manning, and a lot more people, but those are a few, really helped a lot. There were a lot of parents, a lot of students who participated, more than we were expecting too. A lot of hard work went into that. And the vendors, I talked to a few, and they said it went great. They said they sold a lot of stuff, which was fantastic. It's always good to have community members showing their stuff, letting people buy Christmas presents and that sort of thing. It was a lot of fun. Everyone worked very hard. It was great. And then this week, we have a Spirit Week, which is lots of fun. Today was Pajama Day. Yesterday was Ugly Sweater Day. Tomorrow we have, Color Wars. Yes. And then today we also did there was some fun activities coming up and happening now for students and advisories. So today we had a gingerbread house building excuse me, competition. I don't know when the results will come out, probably at the end of the week. Earlier today was a holiday movie night, and we will also have door decorating, which has already started, and a scavenger hunt for students. Just some fun holiday stuff to get us through the week before our fantastic 2-week-long break, which we are all very excited about. I know that was a lot of information, but any questions? Any
Very exciting
questions?
stuff.
Lots of great stuff. Thank you.
Subcommittee work groups.
I had a development committee meeting with NET yesterday, and new board members are being considered, and housing is always the topic of conversation, so.
If I may, yes, two points. Number one, ESP negotiations have begun. Both Shanta and Esmeralda are part of that, and alternating back and forth. Shanta has been at the previous meeting, and Esmeralda will do a few in January. And we also need to have a policy subcommittee meeting.
Yes.
So we will do that in the new year, but we'll be looking at H&I policies. That's it.
Okay, agenda for the next meeting.
Yes, so we will hear from the Student Success Program, the Alt Ed. The town of Nantucket will be coming, the town manager and the director of finance will be here to provide their FY26 budget presentation. We're starting it's budget season, so we'll be doing budget development for the technology department, facilities, community school, and athletics. So that is the next meeting. So thank you.
Any other business?
My only thing is we do have a couple of dates I will need to get some, I'd like to hold a school committee retreat potentially at the end of January. So I'll send out some dates or have Katie send out some dates so that we can meet and go over our own goals, your goals, and talk about the self-evaluation tool, which has to be done in the spring. So that's it.
I have a motion to adjourn. All in favor?
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yay.
Thank you, Cecilia.
Oh, thank you.